Hey, welcome to Graphic Policy Television, GPTV. I'm Bryan. In my hands is the first volume of Box of Bones, a rather intriguing graphic novel from Rosarium Publishing. So this is, I would say, kind of an anthology, filled with a lot of creators. So the stories are all by Jennings and Ayize, Jama, Everett, with Ayize, Jama, is it Yama or Jama? Sorry. Everett is the writer. And then a whole bunch of different artists and letters and colors throughout the comic. We'll have the full credits below this video. Don't want to spend the time, reading it all. Or when, we'll just have it underneath the video anyways. So check it out there. It's a really interesting graphic novel and story. It follows this grad student named Lyndsey Ford. And she wants to do a grad paper on something called the Box of Bones. And it's kind of... not really a wish fulfillment, but it's kind of like a box of vengeance that's filled with a whole bunch of demons that have been used throughout the history of Black and African Americans to enact revenge or seek justice. It's a really interesting graphic novel, and that this has, I think it's 5 chapters. Let me double check. It's 4 or 5 chapters. 5 chapters. And each takes you through kind of an instance of this box being used, and each one is, it's kind of a slight parable to it, but not quite, but it takes us through history of African Americans, Black history, and, it's the injustices that they went through, and, this kind of twists it into revenge. So it's everything from the 50s and 60s, I think it's like 50s or 60s, and then there is a tale in Vietnam. There's another one during slave times. It's very different time periods, very different stories, and each is pretty intriguing. Like, it really works as a fascinating horror series and anthology. It kind of reminds me of there was a horror series, Tales of the Hood, and I didn't watch tons of it, but it kind of, it reminds me of that and Tales of the Crypt a little bit. It doesn't quite have the lessons to it like those did, but it definitely evokes the feel. I remember watching those. I'm not a big horror fan, so that's kind of what I'm working off of as far as things I can compare it to. I don't have a massive depth of knowledge in that area. So it's interesting. Like, it was a good read, and, the things were just nice, twisted enough for me. So, as a kind of a neophyte horror fan, I liked it, as a horror reader. I enjoyed it. It was a good anthology and good read, and I kind of want to see what volume 2 and whatever it goes to has. The art is all over the place. It varies greatly. Some of it I think works better than others. It really just comes down to style. So that's the kind of the art for chapter 1. This is the first chapter. And then we don't and then chapter 2 has very different style there. And the other, while I'm kind of flipping around showing off some of the art, the other thing that's interesting is that it kind of dives in and out of history a bit. And there's things kind of danced around and touched upon, and I can't say, I just don't know African American Black history all that well to say, what's actual history and what's not. There's a whole chapter about the Philadelphia police harassing people, and I know this happened, I know about the firebombing, stuff like that, so, I imagine that chapter was kind of, touched on real history, but it itself, obviously the use of the box and stuff like that isn't real, but it itself isn't, a real story that's exaggerated, if that makes sense. It's not taking, the firebombing, and using that of, springboarding this tale of vengeance. That one particular is police abuse, and then using the box to kind of seek revenge on the corrupt cops. So it's overall, it's good. There's a bunch of essays in the back that I think are really interesting, and this is an area where I'm not familiar with the kind of like the inspiration, if that makes sense. You know, I think somewhere it calls it like gothic horror or southern horror, and like that's just not something I know about a ton of. So it's not something I'm like super have a lot of in-depth knowledge that I can like go on about. So I can only take it for what it is a horror graphic novel from a black perspective. And in that way, like, I like it. Like, it's really good, and I think it's really interesting, and it's nice infusion of history, and kind of spinning that out for, I hate to say entertainment, but, like, you know what I mean. It's good. Like, it's really, really good, and, you know, I think if you are into horror, you're probably going to really enjoy this. If you want a horror story from a black perspective, you're going to dig it as well. You know, I know that's kind of a growing sector or space or genre, whatever you want to call it. So it's nice to check out this entry. Like, it's not, I'm a white guy. Like, this is just not something I'm familiar with. So I'm trying to learn and, you know, experience it and find out, you know, something new. So it's pretty interesting stuff. You can go get it. It's out now. It was released this month. We'll have some links underneath this video. I don't know if any will be affiliate links, but some might, just to warn you. I want to thank Rosarium Publishing for hooking us up with a review copy. You know, we'll have the link underneath our video where you can try to find a local shop and maybe they can order it for you. But, you know, we'll do what we can. I want to thank you for watching. We always appreciate that as well. If you're into comics, if you're into graphic novels, check us out every single day at graphicpolicy.com. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Tumblr, all at Graphic Policy, keeping it nice and consistent. So until next time, keep reading those comics and keep it geeky. Hey, thanks for watching the previous video from Graphic Policy Television. Just by watching, you help support our site. Thank you so much. Now, if you're watching these videos, you probably care about geeky things like movies, television, comic books, toys, games, video games, you name it. You can go and subscribe right now to our YouTube channel to stay in touch and catch all the new videos, or check out our website at graphicpolicy.com. There's a nice link on this end of the video. But as always, thank you for watching. Keep on rocking and keep it geeky.